What is going on, everybody? My name is Adrian Football, and today I'm bringing you my second ever video on this channel. I will be counting down, or not counting down, I will be ranking my fantasy football running backs for the 2016 NFL season. I probably won't be making a ton of fantasy football videos on this channel, but it's something I like to do, it's something I'm good at, and I figure I should give you guys what my rankings are for the upcoming season. So we're going to start with the top running back that I have in my rankings. Adrian Peterson is number one for me. I know a lot of people think this guy is getting up there in age and that he's gonna fall off a cliff soon enough. I think he's 31 this upcoming year. However, I think that Adrian Peterson's not falling off a cliff at least until a couple years down the road. This guy's just so consistent. He's so reliable as a fantasy option. If you were in a fantasy football league last year and you drafted a running back in the first round, chances are you were not happy with that running back. I think Adrian Peterson was probably the only first round running back that did not let down. A lot of people are burned by guys like Eddie Lacy and C.J. Anderson. But Adrian Peterson remained consistent throughout the entire year, and I'm sure he helped a lot of people win some leagues. And he's only being 31. Adrian Peterson's a Hall of Famer. I think it's still a bit disrespectful to say this guy will just start to slow down right now, especially when the Vikings are verging a deep playoff run. So, number two, I've got Todd Gurley. This is the guy that a lot of people have number one. Young running back, burst onto the scene last year. I mean, I get it. This guy is a great running back on an exciting new Los Angeles Rams team. However, I can't take him ahead of Adrian Peterson just because there's a little bit more unknown. He's only done it for one season, so we have to watch out for a sophomore slump, stuff like that. But either way, you're going to be happy drafting Todd Gurley in your fantasy league. The Rams will probably give this guy the ball between 20 and 30 times per game. There's really nobody to contest him for that number one spot or take away from his carries. Trey Mason's got his own stuff going on right now. And I think the only other running back is Benny Cunningham, who there's no way he'd be able to contest Todd Gurley for a share in carries this year. Number three, I've got Zeke Elliott. This guy is very exciting. Everybody is kind of jumping on the bandwagon and saying this guy is going to be an insanely good running back and put up crazy numbers, be the next Lamar Miller. And while I agree he's going to have a very good year, that's why I've got him number three. I do not believe he will be able to come close to repeating what DeMarco Murray did a couple of years ago. He's just not near. He's not as good of a runner as DeMarco Murray is. If you saw him in college, he obviously had some big-time games against Alabama and Oregon. However, I think Zeke Elliott is a little bit overrated. I don't think he's as talented as a guy like Todd Gurley, even if he was taken with the number 4 overall pick. But you got to put him in the top 3. He's got to be a first-round running back simply because of that offensive line. I mean, you saw what Darren McFadden did last year beyond the offensive line. You'd have to expect Ezekiel Elliott will be able to do better than Darren McFadden, which I feel makes him a safe first-round running back to take. Number 4, I've got David Johnson. I'm very excited about David Johnson for the next upcoming season. He plays in probably top 3 offense in football. He plays behind a great offensive line. Great quarterback. He's a very good pass catcher. Probably one of the most versatile running backs in fantasy football this year. He racked up a lot of receiving yards last year, which you gotta like and look out for as a fantasy football player. He's only going his second year as well, so he's got fresh legs still. He burst on the scene last year. I hear a lot of people comparing him. I'm not comparing him to, but a little bit skeptical about him being like C.J. Anderson from last year. Kind of had a very good second half of the season and then kind of let down the following year. I don't think that will be the case at all with David Johnson. C.J. Anderson had a terrible offensive line last year. He was played in a terrible offense. He was battling a lot of injuries. None of those are the case for David Johnson. Like I said, he's got a great offensive line. I do not believe he has suffered any injuries in training camp so far. He should be healthy and ready to go. The only thing I have to say about David Johnson is he kind of always got to watch his back for backups. Like, he's got Chris Johnson and he's got Andre Ellington, I believe, as the running backs 2 and 3, who have both proven that they can be in starters in the past. David Johnson will definitely be number 1 coming out into the regular season, but if he has a few bad games in a row, you have to be a little bit nervous that a guy like Chris Johnson, who had a decent year last year, would take his spot. So you'd want to handcuff him with at least Chris Johnson. And number 5, I've got Lamar Miller. You can see I'm wearing his jersey right now. Big Lamar Miller fan. He's only 25 years old, which kind of surprised me. I thought he was a little bit older than that, but no, he's still getting better each and every year. He's had to play with the Dolphins last year. I was extremely excited about Lamar Miller last year with the Dolphins, and the Dolphins kind of used him in a terrible way. They barely gave him any carries. I think the Dolphins had the least amount of carries in the NFL last year. He was capitalizing on those attempts, but now that he's on a Houston Texans team that has proven with a guy like Arian Foster that they are able to run the ball successfully in the past. This guy's very exciting to me for a fantasy football choice this year that I would definitely take in the first round. He will probably fall to you around the end of the first round, and I think he's a great player to take in that spot. The Houston Texans also have a slight improvement in offensive line over the Miami Dolphins, so you have to be a little bit excited about that as well. But yeah, those 5 running backs are the guys I would look for in the first round. Now, the rest of my rankings, I'm going to go through. I'll put my complete rankings in the description below, but I'm not going to say like how many ever running backs there are, obviously. So those 5 running backs I would look for in the first round, and starting with the guys I would look for the second round and onwards. I have Le'Veon Bell as my first running back. Obviously, this guy would probably be number 1 on my list if he wasn't facing the 4-game suspension, but if you think about it, you're playing probably 12 regular season games in fantasy football, depending on what your league is like, maybe 13, so that's like a third of your regular season that you'll have to find a replacement running back. Obviously, you can look at D'Angelo Williams, but you're gonna have to take you're gonna have to take D'Angelo Williams at a price, as he will probably be going around the 7th or 8th round. That might be a little bit high for some people to take as a handcuff running back. Le'Veon Bell will tear the league up week 5 and onward, so if you're a guy that wants to take that risk and know that you'll be able to win at least a couple of games in week 4, I think Le'Veon Bell will be a great running back to take as a second rounder. But you're going to have to find two running backs that you like for the first 4 weeks, obviously, so that is a bit concerning. And number 7, I've got Mark Ingram. This guy, a lot of people, he went a bit unnoticed last year. He actually put up some good numbers last year. He was doing great for the first half of the season and then into the second half until he got hurt. He plays in a great Saints offense in the dome. He's going to get a lot of red zone touches, a lot of goal line carries. So he's going to rack up some touchdowns. You got to be happy about that. I don't think he's got a ton of competition. I know Kyrie Robinson is no longer on the team. So this guy will definitely be the bell cow of the Saints offense, and anytime you're having a bell cow of any good offense, that you're definitely going to look at him, and I think this guy's a great second-round running back. If you're going wide receiver in the first round, you should look for him definitely. Next, I got Doug Martin. Doug Martin is he burst on the scene last year. Well, he had a great rookie year, and he had a couple of down years, but last year he really came back to his rookie self, and he impressed a lot of people. He slimmed down a lot, and he did it all behind a very bad offensive line. So this guy is definitely a very talented running back. In terms of talent, he's definitely top 5, but he plays in a shaky situation, seeing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line is not the best. That is something you have to look for at all times in fantasy football running back, is how good their offensive line is. I took C.J. Anderson first round last year, and even though he had a bad offensive line, and I extremely regretted it. I regretted it a lot. So, yeah, you just got to make sure that offensive line is stable whenever you take a running back in the first few rounds, because it can always come back to bite you. Number 9, I've got Jamaal Charles. This guy, a lot of people are overlooking and saying his career's about done, coming off another torn ACL. But I think he still has some work to do. He's only 29, and I think he will put up a good amount of fantasy points. And you definitely want to handcuff this guy, though. That's kind of what this number 9 ranking comes with, is that if you can get him with a guy like Spencer Ware or Charkandrick West, or maybe even both, that you're going to have a good running back no matter who is in there, because Ware and Charkandrick West both played very good, and Jamaal Charles a replacement last year. But yeah, you can actually get this guy at some very good value too. That's what I like about him. In ESPN, he's ranked 25th right now. So if you get him a early third round pick, you can still get him, which is amazing value. And then later on in the draft, you can take Ware and West. Number 10, I've got Devonta Freeman. This guy obviously surprised a lot of people last year. He went undrafted in many leagues. However, I think he's going to kind of be a little bit of a bust this year. He really slacked in the second half of the season, which is a big red flag. He was averaging 2.5 yards per carry or something like that. You can't rely on him to get as many touchdowns as he did last year. He finished number 1 in fantasy ball basically from one really good stretch where he's getting 3 touchdowns per game. But you have to look at the second half of his season and say that's probably what he'll be more like this next year, which is a bit nerve-wracking. But if you really like what he did last year, then you can just take a second-round flyer on him or whatever. But yeah, you're going to have to take him in pretty good value, which I probably won't be taking in my leagues. Number 11, and you also got Tevin Coleman, who a lot of people are suggesting might take a good amount of carries away from Freeman, so that is a bit concerning as well. Number 11, I've got Eddie Lacy. He was probably the number 1 or number 2 running back taken off the board last year. He was out of shape. The offense wasn't nearly as good. He got banged up a little bit, but I think Eddie Lacy is a guy you can feel a lot safer with this year. He's obviously slimmed down a lot. The offense is going to be a lot better. I think the Packers, they said, have the easiest schedule when it comes to facing opposing defenses in the NFL, so that's another thing you should be comfortable with. I would definitely take James Starks as a handcuff in the later rounds, because if things don't go right for this guy again, Starks will be a great running back to have. Number 12, I've got LaShawn McCoy. This guy actually surprised me. He actually got a lot of yards last year outside of his injury. Carlos Williams took a lot of work away from him, but Carlos Williams is going to be suspended for the first 4 games. I think he might be in the doghouse. So, yeah, I think you should feel pretty safe taking LaShawn McCoy this year. He is getting up there in age, and he doesn't get a ton of touchdowns, but if you're a guy that just likes your guy to pick up a good amount of yards every game, LaShawn McCoy will be your guy. And just wrapping it up, last couple of running backs, Thomas Rawls. A lot of people wonder why this guy isn't taken higher, because he's kind of similar to David Johnson, as he just burst onto the scene last year and played very well. And I think Thomas Rawls is a very good running back, but right now I believe he is still injured. You have to be a little bit concerned about that. And there are a lot of running backs in Seattle. I think he's got 3 behind them, so you got to wonder how, and he will be the feature back, but you got to wonder how many carries will be taken away from him from other guys on the team. And number 15 on my list is Latavius Murray. I think this is a guy you should feel very comfortable with taking in the 4th or 5th round. If you can get this guy as a second running back 2 on your team, you should feel very safe and very comfortable going into the next season, because even though Latavius isn't the most talented running back, he plays behind probably the second best offensive line in the NFL. So you should feel very safe taking anybody with that good of an offensive line. Even though the Raiders don't have the best offense, he should pick up a good amount of yards, and he should pick up a good amount of touchdowns as well. So he should be a very good running back too, if not flex. But that wraps up the video. So I'll probably be making a fantasy football sleepers video later on in the week. Won't be doing a ton of fantasy football videos, like I said. But I will, or in this channel in general, I won't be making a ton of fantasy football videos. But over the next few weeks, I might be making a decent amount, just because it's draft season. A lot of people are probably drafting sometime over the next few weeks, a little bit in September. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. List your top favorite running backs and why you like them in the comment section below. And thank you all for watching. Until next time.